The conference has been a lot of fun. I can't wait to give the final comment at the end of it, but from what I've seen yesterday and this morning, I'm learning a lot about the use of analytics within the foresight, specifically in this area. And what's really great is the chance to hear from professionals in other countries and academics what's happening in their regions as well. It's critical. It's absolutely critical because the information required for the economic development is shared by people around the world. So you have a choice. You can have each country and each university and each government do the same study over and over and over again on global science and technology issues, or you can work together. And so conceptually, if we don't work more together in international cooperation, we're going to have holes in the data required to formulate good policy. Oh, it's a lot of fun. You got to remember, I've been coming here for about 8 years now. Okay. So I've been able to see the development very nicely. And I'm very impressed with the scope of the projects. They're covering more and more area, the depth of the methodologies. But also what's very impressive is the fact that the projects are having policy impact. And the idea in foresight is to have impact on policy making, otherwise why are you doing it? And that's clearly happening in the case of HSE. So if you look at the depth, you look at the breadth, you look at the methodology, you look at the impact, I'd say this is emerging as one of the top countries and the top areas for foresight research. We're not as integrated as you are here. Okay. So the Canadian government has a branch that's responsible for foresight, right? And then each department has a couple of people, major departments that do foresight. At the university level, we don't have major foresight research academic units. We don't have the sort of integration you're seeing here. And typically there's a focus on one or two methodologies, whether it be, normally it's based on scenario. So although Canada is developing in foresight in many areas, not at the depth that we're seeing here. And in terms of the policy impact, I mean, the fact that Putin said no S&T money without foresight attached to it tells you how important it is. We have yet to see that in the Canadian environment. So what that says is your government is investing in fact-based policy decision-making at a national level, with HSE being a very major center for making that happen. In Canada, we're starting to go in that way, but not as major, not as integrated as you're seeing it here. And so I've actually said to the, on your 2040 project that's coming up, because of the scope of that, because of the depth, there's an opportunity to ask some tough academic questions while you're doing it to improve the overall global practice of foresight. Foresight's important for a very simple reason, right? Which is that the decisions you're making today, and you got to remember what this is all about, right? Governments are making policy decisions, companies are making technical strategic decisions. You're making the decisions today based on an understanding that in technology, the results won't be there for 10 to 20 years. So foresight is critical because if you're going to where the environment may be, or if you're trying to shape that environment, that's got to be reflected in policy decisions today. The problem historically with many companies and many governments is they've made the decision based on data of the past. So statistical analysis of 5-year-old data, which assumes the environment hasn't even changed in 5 years, let alone in the next 10, 15, 20 years. So if you do not roadmap, if you do not do the scenarios, you don't have a sense as to what's emerging and integrate it in, it's tough to put the right policies in play. In a sense, you're hoping to get lucky. And I'd rather have smart government policy than lucky government policy, and smart technical decision-making than lucky ones. And I get to work with governments and companies all around the world. And I see the impact of making decisions today without an understanding of how things are evolving. And it's a lot of wasted money.